I guess, John, is that... Well, we talked last week about you not having any draws. You've got a draw now, but does it feel like a loss given that you had the lead going into the dying stages?
It does feel like a loss, not because we had the lead, because we dominated. And, we had the majority of the opportunities. We lost our way a little bit in the first half for about 20 minutes. Then we gained control again towards the end of the first half. Then we had control of the game in the second. They caught us with a bad mistake from us for the second goal. But what's pleasing is that even though the position we're in, the boys didn't drop their heads. They kept going, kept fighting. In tough conditions, because, as you know, Joe, we're not used to these conditions down in Melbourne. And they kept on going, and deserved to be in front. And then, we cop a late goal, which it was unfortunate because it was, first of all, a handball earlier, but they couldn't bring it back because the play had gone on. But it was a clear handball from their player, and then, it hits the Villa's head, and then it hits Jacob Tratt's head, and it goes in the top corner. But at the moment, that's what we're having to deal with. We just have to keep focusing, keep pushing to get the next game now, get the next result, and then try and get a win.
Obviously not a lot, you could have done about that third goal, the deflection, the handball, but the first two, obviously you talk about the second, the defensive error. I mean, even the first one, Aloisi's had acres of space to run into there, and before he shot. How do you go about fixing just those little errors?
We got caught out of position because our shape got a little bit out. Our players were out of position, so we should have adjusted a bit quicker on the first goal. And yes, he did have acres of space to receive the ball, but he scored from 30 metres. So, we that's at the moment what we're dealing with. If we have acres of space and we're shooting from 30 metres, I know Daniels was a good shot, but it was a little bit closer than that. The second goal, yes, it's a bad mistake. We have to try and rectify those mistakes.
Daniel's performance today, I mean, he's got himself a brace. He also played an integral role in the build-up to the first one. I mean, why did he play so well today, do you reckon?
We spoke about this before the season, that Daniel had been out for a long period with ACL injury. It was going to take him time to get to the level we know he can get to and believe that he can get to. Then I had a bit of a chat with him before the game, because he's feeling that he needs to be the one to take the team forward, and I just told him to be calm and enjoy football, because he was out of football for a year, and enjoy the game. And I don't know if my words helped him or not, but you could see that he was outstanding. Him and De Villa were both outstanding today.
Did we see that catharsis in the celebration of his second when he's taken off, ripped off his shirt? Is that months of frustration?
I don't know if it's months of frustration. Obviously, he thought he had won the game for us, but it's also like Daniel's dealt with some personal issues as well. So, he probably, he's such a good person and such a good guy that he takes everything on board and feels that he has to, support a lot of people. But, I just want him to enjoy the game, because, it's a game that he loves playing. That's why he came to Australia, to enjoy football again. And I hope this is a start that he keeps on performing like he did today.
Do you see Daniel as the key to unlocking the scoring for your side after their troubles?
Yeah. Look, we're not having trouble creating, and we've done that all season. We haven't been able to take our chances. Again today, I think we had 26 shots to their 11, but there wasn't just that. We're getting in those areas very easy and very well from our movement, our play. Sometimes the final ball lets us down, whether, that's, sometimes you're a little bit anxious when you get into those areas. But, yeah, Daniel, we can't just rely on Daniel to score goals. We've got other players around that have to score goals or be in a position to score goals.
Can you talk us through the decision to stack the midfield, take away from the forward group, I guess? Especially when goals have been hard to come.
Yeah, look, we analysed, MacArthur. We thought that we could find good areas in between the lines, between their midfield and their defence, and then because the way that they defend, then we can actually penetrate in those wider areas. And I felt that we did that. I felt that we did that, on the first goal, and many other chances that we created. So that was the reasoning behind it, and you just have to, sometimes those decisions go for you and sometimes they don't.
And you mentioned about just sometimes things don't fall your way, and again, that didn't always happen today, but your side hasn't scored freely this season so far. 3 goals today. Do you feel like, I guess that might be a bit of a turning point, at least on that side of the pitch, moving forward?
Yeah, hopefully. Again, we've been creating the chances. The only disappointing thing, it was 3 goals, but probably could have been 7. So that's the only disappointing thing, because we're creating so many chances.
And Matt Grimaldi started. Tell us about how you felt he performed today.
Yeah, like Matthew's a young player that hasn't played a lot of senior football. He played NPL this season. He was a standout in our NPL side, and he's a talented player. And on the first goal, he got himself into a good position, ended up getting a touch for when Benny Garuccio ended up scoring. But, we find that he's a player that can get in between the lines really well. He's a versatile player, and, there's still a lot of improving, yes, but, he's a good kid and wants to work and learn.
And with Daniel, do you see him centrally moving forward? Because you mentioned how influential he can be. Is that where you see him, I guess, moving forward?
Yeah, look, last week he was influential. It depends on what we've got available and players we've got available. If he starts out wide, he doesn't stay out wide. We don't want him to stay out wide. We want him to be inside, because that's where he picks up the ball in space. It's only defensively that, he might have to be out wide on occasions, but... Daniel's, his main position is for him to pick up the ball in between the lines and start to create opportunities and get himself into the box like he did today.
Are you worried about the kind of not getting the rub of the green and that feeling coming out of games becoming maybe too much of a pattern and then struggling to break out of that at all, or do you just think it'll turn at some point?
Yeah, look, it hasn't turned yet. But we're still working on it. If I felt the players were losing belief, then I would have seen it not only today but last week in training, and I haven't seen that at all. They still believe, they still keep fighting, they still keep on working on improving, and then that's all I can ask for from the group. But, if you keep performing like that, I'm still so confident that we're going to get the wins. And then hopefully once we start getting those wins, when we're not performing so well, we get the wins like other teams are getting against us. So that's the belief we have, and we just keep trying to play the football that we've been playing, because our football's been excellent, like really good. So this is the best. The results haven't been there, but it's the best we've played since I've been here. We've had 2 poor performances out of 12 games. But, we're not winning the games. So we have to try and make sure that we improve in those little details that, we spoke about earlier, and that's the second goal, not making mistakes in those areas. We can't afford to make mistakes in those areas of the way that we're going at the moment.
You don't play another game for a couple of weeks now with the Adelaide postponement. I guess first for you as a coach, how are you approaching an extended break? Obviously the boys will enjoy a rest, but you don't want them to get dull. What are you going to do?
Yeah, no, we'll play an internal game against our NPL team next Saturday. So we'll take it like a normal training week that we're preparing for a game, and play a game on the Saturday, and then prepare for the Wanderers following that. So we just spoke about it in there that, this is not a break for us. This is, yes, they'll have a couple of days off now, but this is, we're preparing to keep on improving and hopefully start to win games.
That Wanderers game doesn't have a venue announced yet. You're confident we won't have another postponement?
I'm confident we won't. I'm pretty positive. It hasn't been announced yet. I'm pretty sure on Monday it will get announced where we're going to play the following 2 games after the Adelaide postponement. So the Wanderers in the Sydney game, there's a venue.
And it is January. Can we expect any new faces to come into the side before the game against the Wanderers? No.
As a club at the moment, we're not in a position to go signing any more players, and so we're comfortable with that. I'm comfortable with that. We've got young players that we have to work with and keep on helping improve, and try and bring them to the level as quickly as possible. And then that's the situation we're in as a club.
When you say the situation, is that salary cap or is that just financial?
It's a number of things.
I don't know how much you look at this, but I'm pretty sure today was your first point outside of Victoria, if I'm not mistaken, this season. So do you look at that at all and take some positives?
Yeah, because I think our next 2 games are going to be outside of Victoria as well, even though they're home games. So it was a positive. Look, it was a positive because, it's not easy to play in these conditions. It's definitely not when you're not used to it. But we had to deal with it. and I know MacArthur had a shorter turnaround, or a day less to be ready for this game, but they're more used to these conditions than we are. So that was a positive. The positive was really not so much the point, because we wanted 3, was the performance, but we didn't get the 3 points that we wanted.
And I asked Milo the same thing. How did you find the Unite round kind of experience, atmosphere?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who was abusing me, whether they were Wanderers supporters, City supporters, MacArthur supporters, or my own.
Jason was sitting right behind you.
Nah, I'm joking. No one was abusing me. They were all good to me. So, no, it was different. It's. I think that it's a good concept. A really good concept, and I'm happy that that everyone because we had a few people that travelled for our game that will end up staying watching other games, and we got our women's team playing here, and there can be some excitement tomorrow night. You got the Socceroos playing, and there'll be a big screen to watch that. So it's good for our game to have that, and try and bring everyone together.
You mentioned there's a couple of NPL players you're looking at to try and bring up to an A-League level where they can come into the side. Is there any names that maybe you can give us that we haven't seen at an A-League level yet?
I think you've seen most of them. Like we still had Jake Najowski on the bench today. We've had Reece Bozanowski that's still young. We had Grimaldi that's still young. Kane Vidma that's still young. He's played. We've got some other players that have been training with us that are still kids. But yeah, look, at the moment it's hard to say this one's ready or that one's ready, because they're still learning the game and trying to improve. So then our NPL teams are playing regular friendly games and regular games, so there might be someone that will stand out in the next few weeks.